At Rainbow Mealworms, we grow all our insects 100% naturally so that you get the freshest, most lively feeders on the market. So for all your reptile food needs, place your order today at rainbowmealworms.net.
Hey, what's up, Rattlers? So last time we were island hopping here in New Caledonia to try to find as many awesome lychee locales as we possibly could. So come with me and let's continue to island hop here in New Caledonia to find even more awesome Leachianus. I'm Dāv Kaufman and I am obsessed with reptiles, and I have been since I was 9 years old. 25 years later, I made a trilogy of award-winning movies about them. Now my life is all about touring the world in search of them in wild places and checking out some of the most awesome breeding facilities and reptile expos while I'm at it. So come with me and join my reptile adventures. So of all the islands that we visited, Bayonnaise was the hardest landing we had. It was an island made up of nothing but rock, and it was the most uncomfortable night's sleep we got on any of the islands. But that didn't stop us from finding exactly what we went there for. Bayonnaise is also known as Isle C, and this is what the Leachies here look like. They don't really look like the Bayonnaise that we see in the hobby, but they do have the side bandings that they do, but here in the wild, they don't seem to support the colors that we often see in the hobby. But they're still cool geckos. They're a medium-sized gecko on this locale, and the first Leachies that I ever had were Bayonnaise locale Leachies. And so for me to be standing here on this island with a wild Bayonnaise Leachie in my hand, I just simply don't have the words to describe just how amazing this is. To be holding the first Leachie that I ever got here in the wild. So Leachianus geckos are actually the most vocal geckos in the world. They make whistles and clicks and growls. So Leachianus lizards are extremely long-lived lizards. They can live up to 30 years. And what's particularly interesting about Leachianus is that they pair bond, kind of like shinglebacks in Australia. They'll find a mate and they'll stick with that one mate on that one tree or one group of trees almost all of their lives. So look at the coloration of this female. This is really typical of the coloration on Bayonnaise. So the interesting thing about this particular Leachie is she's gravid at this size. So if she's gravid at this size, that just goes to show that the Bayonnaise type locale is a much smaller gecko than some of the other insular geckos here in New Caledonia. All right, I'm gonna go gently put her back in the tree hollow that I found her in. So look at this grove of trees here on Bayonnaise where we've been finding most of our Leachies. All the trees are vertical, even the tops of the trees are vertical. So if you have a vertical setup for your Leachies, especially from Bayonnaise, you're doing it right. But all the Leachies spend the entire day in tree hollows. That's where they hide out, they cram themselves in there, they spend all day in these tree hollows. So if you don't have cork bark tubes in your enclosures, as soon as you're done watching this video, go get some of those cork bark tubes and put it in your enclosures. You're gonna have much more secure, happier, healthier Leachies. So this, whoa, dude. So this is what the Leachies look like on the Isle of Pines. Whoa. As I was saying, so this is what the Leachies look like here on the Isle of Pines. They've got these big blocky heads, and they're bigger than all the other ones out there on the outer islands. And they've got this really high contrast background. Check out the white sides. They have thin white bands, and they have no black pigment in those white bands, unlike some of the other insular locales. But it makes sense that these are one of the biggest insular locales because the Isle of Pines is actually a really big island, and therefore you have bigger trees, you have more of them, you have more space, you have a lot more food source here, and therefore the competition for food isn't as great as it is on the smaller islands, and they can get a bunch of it and grow really super huge. They're not as big as the ones on Grand Tar, which is a much bigger island than the Isle of Pines, but here these guys grow super big. So these guys can just sit and eat to their heart's content, and they eat big food on this island. A big island, big trees, big habitat, big food. So last night as we were looking for these guys, check out what we filmed. All right, Leachie is eating a huge katydid.
Oh my God, I can't believe that!
Oh my God, it's bigger than he is.
I can't believe that.
Holy crap. Is he gonna get that thing down?
It dropped.
Oh, he dropped it.
It dropped.
All right, so the Leachie dropped this. It was obviously too big for him.
Grasshopper.
Yeah, it's a New Caledonian katydid. All right, so that's how big this katydid is, and that Leachie was trying to down this thing.
The Leachie must be damaged.
And his head's a little screwy.
Where is the Leachie?
The Leachie, I think, ran off.
I thought two Leachies were fighting when I was...
Yeah, absolutely. But a Leachie looking at this and saying, that's food, that is incredible.
Do it with my hand for skill.
Look at how big that thing is. That is pretty insane. Wow. I don't know how we're going to top this, guys. I'm pretty much convinced that if he didn't drop that katydid, he would have gotten that thing down. So again, Isle of Pines Leachies are the second biggest insular type of Leachies and the most jumpy. So this is typical Leachie habitat here on the Isle of Pines, but take a look at these trees. This is where we've been finding most of our Leachies here. You have vertical trunks like every other tree, but on these trees, most of the branches and most of the tree is all horizontal. So with the Leachies that you're keeping, you may want to try bigger cages for this bigger locale, but have vertical branches and horizontal branches within the same cage to give your bigger Isle of Pines locale Leachie an option. So vertical branches and horizontal branches in the same enclosure would probably be ideal for this locale. Well, Rattlers, I hope you enjoyed the second part of our Leachie episode. You know, these animals are just so incredible, and each one of these islands is so uniquely different between the animals that exist there and the plants and the trees. They're all different on all these islands. I didn't know that before I got here, but it was so amazing to witness this in person. Anyway, Rattlers, just like last time, leave a comment below with a tip on how you guys are keeping Leachies so that other viewers of this video can learn from you guys as well. And as always, share this video, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and until the next adventure here in New Caledonia, love the planet, feed your reptile obsession, and rattle on.